Hey, Shauna, I hear that the dating pool after 40 is amazing and there are so many choices. Is this true?
Well, so we've turned into a comedy show, have we, Allie?
No, but hey, tell us about your experience with dating after 40. Welcome to the Girls Talk Healthy Aging podcast, where we dive deep into pressing health and fitness issues facing aging women. I'm Allie Kerr.
And I'm Shawna Kaminski, and together we'll bring candid conversations, expert advice, and personal stories that will inspire and empower you on your own wellness journey.
All right, Shauna. So give us the deep. Is it a nightmare dating after 40? Surely it's easy, right?
Yeah. Honestly, dating after 40, it will be what you make of it.
Mm.
I'll maybe just give a little bit of history. I parted with my former husband. I think I was 47. And honestly, I did no dating for 10 years. I just
No.
was not ready. I just had some sort of preconceived idea that online dating wasn't for me and that I was just going to find someone in the grocery store or like where, in the old days, that's where you would meet someone at the gym, in the grocery store, a friend of a friend. And I realized that that wasn't going to happen, but partly because I wasn't really ready for it. So when I decided that I was ready, I did jump in with online dating.
So some people may be not having any luck because they're really not really looking, maybe not ready. So talk to us about that. Like, what does it take to be ready to jump back in that pool? Because that's got to be scary.
Well, it can be, but I just decided that I was married and with my former husband for 27 years. And so I really wanted to explore being on my own for a while because, I got married at 23, was with him for a couple of years before that. So I was, by today, like as a 6-year-old now, I think, oh man, I was just such a baby. At the time, you think you're grown up, and I was, and I didn't make an entirely bad choice. I was with him for 27 years, and we're good friends now. It just that relationship ran its course. But I just thought I need to work on me, and I wanted to be the best version of myself before I was, going to look for a partner because I thought I'm going to be a better partner and make a better choice when I know who I am and what I want. So I think that it's important. I mean, I think it can also be an excuse, and it was for me. I didn't need to wait 10 years. I mean, I'm a slow study, but not that slow. So I just
So,
decided that when I was ready, it's just like, nope, I'm just going to do the online thing.
so what do you think that was maybe a kind of a holdout for you for 10 years? What do you think was holding you back?
Holding me back? Well, preconceived ideas about what dating would be like. For a lot of, not a lot of it, for some of it, I did enjoy the independence and being alone, but I got pretty lonely in that time. I mean, that 10 years is a long time to not be dating. I probably used the excuse of my kids for a while that, I'm just busy with my own kids, that, by then they were in their late teens and they didn't need me as much as I pretended that they did. And I was really involved in growing my businesses, which I enjoyed. So I kind of used that as an excuse. So it was a lot of stalling tactics. And, the fact that I wasn't ready or didn't want to, it was okay. Everybody's going to get ready in their own time because then once I was ready, I was really ready. Like when I do something, I'm going to do it wholeheartedly. And I didn't really want to half ass it. I wanted to know what I wanted and I wanted to do it right rather than just kind of dabble and just have bad experiences.
So at what age did you get back into the dating pool?
Oh, probably, oh, mm, well, I've been with Alan for 357. Yeah, it was 57-ish,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
57. So literally 10 years.
Yeah. Yeah. And now, is this true that you have rules, or you had rules for dating and what you were looking for? Is
Yes.
this the true story? Tell
It's
us
a true
about it.
story. Yeah, I had rules because, when I do something, I'm going to do it with purpose. And number one, the first thing I did is I made a list of what I was looking for in a partner, because you're not going to find something if you don't know what you're looking for. So I made a list of attributes of a partner that I would want. And then in making that list, it wouldn't be fair if I said, hey, I wanted somebody, spontaneous and fun, if I wasn't that way. So anything on my list, I had to be realistic about, in terms of, like, I have to match that energy to a certain extent. So first of all, I made a list of characteristics of what I was looking for. And then that also helped me on dating sites kind of weed out who would appeal to me. And at for I before I found my current partner, I did date a fellow for 6 months who was just lovely. And before I say anything more, I want to say that anybody that I did go on a date with, I had great experiences, partly because of my rules, which I'll go over, but partly because of setting the expectation of what I was looking for in choosing who I was going to go for a date with. So setting my rules up in the beginning helped me choose whom I was going to spend my time. So I'll kind of just quickly go, and I'll tell you, there was one person that I didn't have a good experience with. But I'll tell you my 10 rules. I'll just briefly go through those. And the first one was make it a fun job. I decided that I was going to commit to one date a week. And it was, I was going to wear a dating uniform. So I chose an outfit so I would spend no time in thinking about what I was going to wear or worrying about it, because there's nothing to worry about. I wanted to manage my expectations because I knew that every date would not be Prince Charming. So just go and have a nice time. Keep the date short. Make it the date in public, preferably like a coffee date. I decided no alcohol because I know that I am not a good drinker, in that like a small amount of alcohol would blur my judgment. So no drinking. Coffee, short, in a public place. My son tracked my location on my phone. This was his idea. He's like, okay, mom, you're dating, so I'm just going to track your location. I would tell him every time where I was going and when I would be home. So I felt super safe. I decided that I would be myself because I am not out to impress anyone. The sooner someone would be turned off by me, the better, because it would be like, we're not going to waste any time. If I'm not a fit for you, let me know right away, because I'm certainly going to do the same in a kind way to you. And being unapologetic about boundaries. So, and just staying positive, deciding that it was going to be a fun job, because the job is going to be what you if you think it's going to be a horrible experience, it's going to be horrible. And the best part is, even if it was like not, and honestly, there wasn't like a like a huge amount of great candidates, but there was always something nice I found about them, even if it was like, not a good fit, and no thanks to a second date. But I would always have a funny story, and my kids, who are adults, would always be anxiously awaiting the funny stories. So having those rules for me made it like I just was not invested. I want to say that I was invested in the process of finding a partner, but not invested in, like, once I set up a date thinking, oh, he has this and that, and we're going to go on this holiday, and like projecting into the future a lot. Just like,
Mm.
nope, we're going to have a coffee date. If we can carry on a conversation, if we have any kind of energy together, like, that's a win. That's
Mhm.
maybe reason for a second date.
Now I'm thinking back when I was in college, and in that stage of life where you're dating, and I remember having a list. Now I couldn't tell you what all was on that list, but I'm just thinking my list today would probably be so different,
Oh yeah,
than your list when you're in your early 20s, because you've gone done these things. You'd actually been married, you'd had kids, you've been a mom,
yeah,
like you've had so many life experiences and gone through so many different stages in your journey that it really, I'm sure, changes the things that you're seeking or looking for in a partner. So how did that, as far as when you started meeting people, what were some things in particular? Were there certain things you were looking for in a person that may have been different than back in the day when we were young and didn't know
yeah.
any better?
Well, honestly, there's a lot of things the same because my values are the same. Like,
Mm,
back then, I knew that I wanted to get married and have babies. I mean, when you're dating when you're 18, that's not top of mind. Like, but maybe at some point you knew that that was, for me, that was something that I knew I wanted. But when I was dating at 18, I wasn't like checking their teeth and hair to be like, are you going to be a good baby daddy? You know, and so a lot of the things were similar in that, valuing family, solid character. I did. I mean, obviously, I wasn't looking for baby daddies back then or someone that had children, but I felt that dating now, dating a person that is a father was better than having dating someone that didn't have kids, because the I did date a fellow for 6 months and he didn't have kids, and he was a great person, but there's just a different understanding when you haven't had children and you have had children.
mm,
It's not a disconnect, but it was just different. So
mm.
that was one thing that I was looking for, or it was not necessarily looking for, but felt that it was advantageous. And I really tried to not focus on the physical, whereas probably younger, I was more into, physical attraction and attractiveness probably jumped out more because we were younger.
Mm,
Um, I must admit that in my vanity, I was looking for an attractive partner, but I was trying to put that lower on the list. I feel like I hit the jackpot with finding someone that is also to me very attractive, but I tried to not put that high on the list, and I also tried to look for different qualities than what my former husband had, because I
yeah,
thought, okay, well, that was a successful relationship in that it lasted 27 years, but it didn't jibe with who I am today. So
mm,
I probably need to look for different characteristics. So my former husband is very, outgoing, or, can command a room in like, he likes to be the center of attention. And my current partner is, he can command a room when he wants to, but he doesn't want to very much. He's very shy. He'll set out one zingers here and there, very funny, but likes to be a bit more, fly on the wallish. And so it's like that's one of the glaring differences in partners. And I realized that, as I matured, I needed a little more space for me. And I didn't feel like I had that maybe with someone that was so big in the
mm. And yeah, that was my guess. You kind of hit the nail on how I was thinking. You probably found, like, you probably realized what you didn't want just because of life and experience. You realize things that aren't as important, or
yeah.
things that just aren't as good of a fit for you. So it sounds like that was definitely the case. And I'm thinking back. Even though I don't remember all the things on my list way back then, I do agree with you. Just thinking about values, those things. We really are at the core who we are, and those values, a lot of those values for most of us probably don't change a lot. And I know, in my experience with knowing you, that you're, very, very, have a very strong work ethic, very loyal, very committed to things. You don't have, like you said, you don't half ass anything. Like you are, like this girl. I mean, especially what I know of you with, like, when it comes to sports and those type things. I mean, you're like top notch, top level, high competitive and highly competitive. So how did, like, going through from not dating for 10 years and then getting back and having these rules and going through that process, what advice would you give to someone who is maybe in the early stage of that? Maybe they're thinking they're getting ready. Maybe they're, like, okay, this is time. Where do they start? What do you suggest?
Well, I mean, I would start with like I went on Match. I also went on Bumble. Since then there are very many, like there's lots of other dating apps. So online is a I feel like it was a good experience because I chose for it to be, and I was patient. So I would start with creating a profile that really reflects who you are, and finding pictures that reflect who you are, and not like my dating uniform, for example. Like, I did not want anything too spicy. I wanted something fairly conservative, just like, looks nice, but not hoochie mama, because that was not what I was looking for. I was not looking for a hookup. So, depending on what you want, if you're looking for a long term relationship, choose pictures that are flattering, but not like too hoochie mama, because if you are too hoochie mama, you're just going to get people that are just wanting to hook up. So if that's not what, and you know what, that's fine if that's what you're looking for. But if you're looking for something more than that, then present more than just your hoochie mama side, and get someone to help you create your profile if you're not confident in determining who you are, because sometimes you don't see the forest for the trees. So if you don't have a good sense of like what you're good at, like ask somebody to say, hey, like, sorry to be weird about this, but like, if like, what am I good at? What could I say is a quality of mine or something to help? Because sometimes, especially when you're not feeling confident about dating, it's hard to beat your own drum, but you kind of have to, in a
Hmm.
way. So maybe get some outside help with creating your profile, and then even getting help setting up a few coffee dates, like having someone help choose someone, to have a conversation with, and then strike up the conversation. And then honestly, just do it. I would not converse with anybody for any length of time, maybe a few days. If there seemed to be some sort of energy, like in texting on the app, only on the app, then I would set up a coffee date, because some people just want to talk, talk, talk. And I'm not interested in a pen pal. That was not what my goal was in this process. And some people, that's what they want to do. So set up a coffee date right away so that you can just check them off the list, or take them off the list, or maybe pursue a second date.
Now, during this time, did you have anybody set you up on dates that weren't through the online, or were they all through online match type things?
Yep. Yep. They were just online through Match. And
Mhm.
I mean, I had waited 10 years. Nobody had set me up with anybody ever. So it's kind of like, well, you guys had your chance.
Take matters into my own hands, and that is the power of online dating now.
Yeah.
And it's almost like an interview process. Like, people are putting up their resume, and here's my
Yeah.
picture, here's who I am, here's what I'm about, and so
Yeah.
that's a
Yeah.
very interesting way we do things now. But you're testament that, and a lot of people are testament, because that works, because so many people now, that is how people meet.
And not just like people in their 40s, 50s and beyond. Like, I thought that it was kind of like our age group, but younger people, that's how they're finding partners as well. And kind of, if somebody hit you up in the grocery store, you might feel like it was be a bit creepy now, because that's kind of not how it's done.
It's like, I haven't seen your resume. I haven't seen your
Yeah.
profile. I don't know about you.
And honestly, it could all be BS. And sometimes it is, because you know what, I think the number one fib on dating apps is men's height. And like,
Really?
Yeah, and it's like,
And women's weight if they
yes, probably. And I think that the other thing is that when I would meet, like when I'd go for a coffee date, people would be like, "Oh, you actually look like your picture." Because a lot of people will put like pictures 10 and 15 years younger. So it's like, of course my younger pictures look better, but I'm not that younger person. So find flattering pictures that reflect who you are now,
Mhm.
and don't make them selfies. You know, you don't have to have people in the picture with you, but it's clear when when you're doing a selfie, and it's okay to have, you know, a couple selfies, I guess, but try to have pictures of you doing the things that you would do in your life. Like when
Mhm.
I was looking at fellas pictures, it's like there are so many fishing pictures, so many car pictures, mirror selfie pictures, shirtless pictures. It's like, you know, that does a lot of picking for you. It's like, all right, these are maybe not my choice. Obviously they might be working for some people, but um yeah, so you know, I when I found like my current partner Alan, we've been together for 3 years, like he had such a great profile because he said things like, he had me at food logging and food prep.
Why does this not surprise me? Shauna. Okay, so let me tell you a little secret about Shauna. Shauna has like logs of like workout logs and like food logs from
For
like
years.
decades ago, I'm sure, right? Am I
Yeah, I'm
right?
like, oh, a fellow weirdo. You know,
Okay,
and
but
I
we all need our fellow weirdo, right?
yes, exactly. And so every pot has its lid. It's like, you know, the fellow that I dated for 6 months, like I said, he was lovely, and one of the reasons I chose him is because he was so different. I'm like, okay, let's try someone that's like so polar opposite. And it's like there was just not enough, you know,
Yeah.
commonalities. And
Mhm.
so like with Alan, you know, his pictures were him like rock climbing, hiking, paddleboarding, you know, like him doing fun things. And so those are the things that I do or want to do. And then you know, I knew that he was a father, a single dad, so it's like he told very a lot about who he was. And
Mhm.
so it made it a lot easier to make a choice to go for coffee with him.
So I gotta hear a little deets because I've never got. Okay, first of all, I've never even met Alan yet, so I'm excited to do that hopefully soon. So tell me, I'm just curious about like that first date, that first coffee date or whatever it was. Can you give us a little window into y'all's first date, first meetup?
Well, it was interesting because we met in September of 21 in a window when restaurants were open, like there was a break in COVID. So
Mm.
we were actually able to meet, and we,
COVID, y'all did COVID dating. Wow. I mean,
well,
finding your partner during COVID.
yeah,
Lot.
and I mean, because then, you know, soon after we, you know, everything closed down again. So then we were just stuck with each other. If we were to see each other, then it was like dinner at my house, dinner at his house, watching a movie because there was nothing to do. So then we had to we determined that we liked each other because we were not, you know, I was not being wined and dined and he was not being entertained with fun things because like we were stuck, you know what COVID was like. So yeah, we went, and actually I did break, I don't know why, but I broke my rule with Alan and I went out at night. It was early. I met him maybe at 6:30 or 7 at a local restaurant, and I did have one drink, but I don't think that we stayed for like 4 hours. So I don't think that my judgment was impaired because it was I nursed that one drink for the whole time. And yeah, conversation was just really easy. I went on a girls' trip the next weekend, and by then I had given him my phone number. So we texted with each other all weekend because I was away on a girls' trip. And he was just so sassy on text. He was hilarious. So then by the time I went on a second date with him, I felt like I knew him a bit. I did not kiss him that first night. And then he told me, because I said I chickened out on kiss because I know that he was trying to kiss me at the car when he walked me to my car that first time. And I was just like, I was nervous at that point because I liked him and I'm like, I don't even know what to do. And so I kind of just scuttled away. But I fessed up and I said, oh, I didn't kiss you because I was nervous. And he said, well, for the second date, I'm going to meet you at the front of the restaurant and I'm going to kiss you, because we had to wear masks still. So he met me at the front of the restaurant and he really kissed me, and we had dinner, and then it was just like I was just smitten. And then 2 days later we went hiking, and then it just kind of we just fell into this rhythm of seeing each other. Like it was just so easy. It
Yeah.
was effortless, which I feel like it was a bit of a fairy tale, but I feel like my rules and my preparation in knowing who I am and what I was looking for helped me find what I was looking for. And I was very patient.
Mm. And I think as women, one of the things like that's amazing that I think is powerful thing is like as an independent woman, like you were by yourself for 10 years without dating. Like, so, you know, I think that it's, since we're doing this podcast for women, one of the things that one of the takeaways here is it's okay to be, be by yourself and learn who you are and not be in a relationship until you are ready. Because if not, it could, I'm sure, lead to getting in the wrong relationship if there are no boundaries and no awareness of what you want, who you are. And so sometimes it's good for us to sit and just figure us out and take care of ourselves. And I know that, like you said, you did your businesses, and I know you like have been steady training and working out and competing and doing all these things. Like, I mean, I look at you and I'm like, I can't understand. Like, I just feel like there's a bunch of idiot men out there because they should have been like banging down Shauna's door, because like she's amazingly beautiful. She's super fit. She's super smart. She's super loyal. Like, she's a hard worker. Like, so it just shows like, doesn't matter how amazing you are though, like that, the timing has to be right. You have to be ready, and that it's okay that, it's actually was probably, I think one of the reasons you've had the fairy tale now is there's the dating prep that you did, but then there's also just the Shauna prep that you did all those
Yeah.
years, right?
Yeah. Well, first of all, thank you, Ali, for the kind words. But I agree. What I had to do is I had to learn how to value myself, because I felt like anybody that's been through a divorce, even though it's very amicable now, my former husband and I, like, we have Christmas together with the kids and like we have a very good relationship. There's a certain level of like feeling kind of beat up and not good about yourself in that area. So it's just like, I'm just going to kind of leave that to the side. I'm going to build myself up through business, through sport activities, being a good mom, being a good friend, and then finding myself in a dating situation later when I was more confident overall. So we wanted to do this podcast because we know that there are so many women in their 40s, 50s, 60s that would like to find a partner but really feel like it's hopeless. But I want to offer hope that, as dating, the way I looked at it is I thought, I'm a nice person. There's got to be another nice person out there, and I'm only looking for one. It's not like I need 10 people. I'm just looking for one nice person. And I just,
Sure.
right. So I just held out hope that there is also a nice person out there. And I don't want to say I didn't settle. I just feel very fortunate that I feel like I didn't settle. I mean, I know that sometimes you might meet nice people, and well, here's an interesting thing is that I feel like I didn't settle, but there's always going to be something. Okay, while Alan checks off the biggest boxes on my list, would there be other boxes? Oh, well, maybe if he was like a millionaire, well, that would be nice. But like, you're not going to get everything. And if I held out for checking off all the boxes and a millionaire too, well, I would never find somebody, you
Hmm.
know? And so it's like, does it really matter that he's a millionaire? No, he's very successful, has a great job, has a great life. I don't need anything more than that. But if you keep setting the bar higher and higher and higher, oh, I don't like the color of his hair. Oh, he's got an ugly big toe. Oh, I don't like his car. Like, who cares? Like, are those the most important things? Are those like, you have to ask yourself, what's going to make you happy long term? And I think for me, the 10 years or the time that I wasn't dating really helped me understand what I was looking for to make me happier long term.
And I know we did a podcast and we on grief, and I mean, going through a divorce, that's definitely, there's a grieving process that has to take place, and you have to work through after something like that. And so that is something that, and that's going to take however long it's going to take for somebody to work. And then there's fear of like, oh my gosh, I've been down this road before. And first I've heard some ladies tell me, that they don't want another man, because they're like, I've been down this road, it didn't work out, it was so painful, I went through all this stuff, and I just don't want to do it again. Like, that's something that I've had clients tell me. They just, and then maybe they'll always feel that way, or maybe that'll take some time, and they may eventually not. But again, it's okay either way. I think that's what I'm hearing you say too.
Yeah, it's okay either way, but to try to not let excuses and fear hold you back from what you really do want. Because
Mhm.
there is a lot of fear associated with dating, because it is scary. And then, thinking about, well, getting naked with someone, and man, you haven't been naked with someone for 10 years. Like, what's that going to be like? But, you know, for me, like, by the time that's going to happen, I'm going to feel really comfortable with someone. And I feel like feeling good in your own skin is part of the process of getting ready to date. So if you're really not feeling confident, not feeling fit and strong, like, you're going to just, feeling fit and strong, how that boosts your confidence.
Mhm.
So my suggestion to women that are considering dating, first date yourself, and then, feel good in your own skin.
Absolutely.
Put on an outfit that you feel confident in, like, just build your confidence in other areas, and then that's going to bleed over into the dating area as well.
Yeah, and I know, I'm sure you have this too. I have clients, that's when they come to me, when they're ready to, or they've been, maybe a relationship has ended and they're like, I've got to take care of myself now. Even if they're not necessarily ready to start dating, they're like, I've got to take care of myself. I've let myself go. I just realized how miserable I am. I'm not happy. I'm not comfortable. I don't feel good about myself. And then I also have clients that'll come and they're like, I'm ready to get back in the dating world. I got to get
Yes.
myself to a better place so that I
Yeah.
feel better and choose better. Like you said, you want to be at your strongest and your healthiest.
And you don't need to be perfect. You don't have to have arrived in your perfect bikini body and, have everything perfect. No, you just have to feel good. Because, if you're putting up that impossible standard that's like, I'm not dating till I lose 20 pounds, it's like, that's not necessary. You don't have to be in your perfect shape, but if you feel good and strong and confident in the skin you're in, that is what is important.
So, Shauna, what is your wish for our listeners today?
My wish is that if there's a woman out there that is not, doesn't have a partner but wants one, I want to make it clear that it's perfectly fine to be single if that's what you're choosing. But if you are on the cusp of potentially, looking for a partner, I would say I would wish for them to go for it. And, just tread lightly, make it fun, don't take it too seriously, but protect your own, like, don't settle. Value yourself in the process, and have fun with it. You never know. Like I said, I found a dream fella, and I couldn't be happier.
Well, my wish for people, I'm going to steal this from Shauna, is that all the pots find their perfect lid out there.
If you're looking for a lid,
If you want a lid, if you like your pot like it is, then by golly, just keep it like it is.
exactly.
Thanks for listening. You'll find me, Allie, on Instagram at Allie Kerr Fitness.
And you'll find me, Shawna, on Instagram at Shawna Kaminski. Feel free to pop us a DM with questions and or feedback.
Until next time, be healthy and be happy.